Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Bell County is introducing more than 1,000 jobs to the area with a new hydropower facility. And a new House bill wants to give schools more authority to restrict vaping on campus.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are coming up on 6:31 this morning on March 22nd, 2024. Let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your weekend weather.
And good morning, Madison. Good morning, everyone. Waking up this Friday morning to an increase of cloud cover. Some of us out toward Monticello, maybe a few sprinkles by now. And we've got 34 outside our door here at WYMT. Weather headlines for today. Yeah, we get into a scattered rain shower pattern again, mainly west of Jackson and Hazard. The light rain for all of us heading through tonight. Things improving. Saturday still looking good for Palm Sunday. And for those of you looking ahead to Monday, oh, why would we do that? It's the weekend, right? But things are looking really nice to start off the work week next week. Temperature-wise this morning, we're in the 30s and lower 40s, mid 40s though, making your way out towards Somerset and Monticello. And the pinpoint Doppler radar showing how this area continues to expand. Columbia, Monticello, trying to track up closer into Somerset and Danville. That'll be the continuing trend here over the next hour or so. As a lot of this action will be 75 points west. An increase of moisture though means we could see a spitting shower out to the east, but we all get into the rain. And yes, I think dinner plans tonight, umbrellas for sure. Check it out, the official emoji cast for today. Scattered showers, again, mainly west of Jackson and Hazard, up to 70. That's nice. Tomorrow, things gradually improve, 51, and looking good for Palm Sunday on Sunday. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast. That's all coming up in just a few moments. Right now, back to the news desk with Madison.
Tim, thank you. A Whitley County man charged with murder was indicted by a grand jury earlier this week. 73-year-old Michael Boyd Connor is accused of murdering Charles Oler. He was arrested after investigators found the 73-year-old dead inside his home back in January. Police searched Connor's home in Corbin, then placed him under arrest. Two people are facing charges after police found drugs on them during a traffic stop in Harlan County. Deputies conducted the traffic stop last Sunday. Deputies noticed during the stop Charles Napier trying to get rid of a large bag of suspected meth from the vehicle. Marijuana, money, and drug paraphernalia were found during a search of the vehicle. Napier and Shaylin Sieber were taken to the Harlan County Detention Center, but Sieber has since been released. An $81 million grant will go towards a hydropower facility in Bell County. On Thursday, Governor Andy Beshear announced the Lewis Ridge Pumped Storage Project will receive the grant from the U.S. Department of Energy. The project will bring more than 1,000 construction jobs and will produce enough energy to power nearly 67,000 homes each year. Ride Development CEO Paul Jacobs said they are proud to get to this point of the project.
We're honored to be selected for this grant from the DOE, but more than that, we're honored to be building this project and pursuing this project in Eastern Kentucky. Pursuing the grant itself has been a effort that's been taking close to a year, and it's involved support and incredible support throughout the state and throughout the governor's administration.
Jacob says this project will be a game-changing. According to the project's website, it is expected to be operational in 2031. And that was not the only thing the governor discussed during his Team Kentucky update yesterday. The governor mentioned attending the grand opening of The Journey on Tuesday, which is a women's residential recovery center. The recovery center in Ashland was awarded a grant worth $925,000 from the state's recovery housing program. It is the first project from the program to be completed. There's a new leadership at the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet. Governor Beshear's office announced multiple appointments yesterday. Keith Jackson was named secretary, Mona Womack deputy secretary, and Randy White as commissioner of the Department of Juvenile Justice. Jackson became the first African-American appointed chief of the Lexington Division of Fire and Emergency Services back in 2012. The Kentucky Board of Education has found its next education commissioner, and he works for an Eastern Kentucky school district. Lawrence County Schools Superintendent Dr. Robbie Fletcher has been tabbed as the next commissioner. Prior to being named superintendent for Lawrence County Schools back in 2014, Fletcher was the principal at Sheldon Clark High School in Martin County for many years. Here is what Fletcher said in part in a statement yesterday. Quote, "I appreciate the Kentucky Board of Education selecting me for your next Commissioner of Education. It was evident in the interview process that each person on the board has a profound love for every child in the Commonwealth. I am thankful to have a large network of people who were always willing to listen, to consult, or to advise regardless of the professional title that I had held," end quote. Kentucky lawmakers are close to passing a new law dealing with vaping and how school districts are to deal with that. House Bill 142 simply tells districts they need to adopt policies and to stick to those rules. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what took place.
Smoking may have been a problem in schools in the past, but the discussion before lawmakers Thursday centered on a similar yet bigger problem.
And when you have education policy leaders that are saying vaping is the biggest challenge they face, the timeliness of this, it's so well timed.
Part of the concern is that vaping products can be tainted with other substances. House Bill 142 would require school boards to set policies including prevention and cessation materials, signage stating that vaping or nicotine products are not allowed, and sets punishment for students caught with those products.
For students under 21, it allows districts to confiscate alternative nicotine products, and further offenses shall result in an in-school suspension or an out-of-school suspension based on what their policy dictates.
This bill easily passed the House 80-11. There really wasn't much opposition in this committee, but the American Heart Association had a representative there that said that Kentucky lawmakers need to try to make it harder for kids to even buy or acquire these products.
Youth have been targeted.
Ashley Christensen says data collection and education within the bill are excellent. She says the sales of nicotine products to kids are out of control in Kentucky.
So what we do know is that youth have been long targeted by tobacco and vape industries. We know that the packaging, the marketing, the scholarships that are offered, I mean, the list goes on and on.
She says the level of nicotine in products is higher, leading to kids becoming addicted faster. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The bill may need to go back to the House if it passes the full Senate because of changes made. A bill aimed at keeping Kentucky classrooms safer is moving forward in Frankfort. House Bill 275 would force teacher applicants to disclose whether they were the subject of any sexual misconduct allegations or investigations within the past year. Districts would also be prevented from entering into non-disclosure agreements related to teacher misconduct.
After gaining my trust, he would emotionally manipulate me and the other students he favored, publicly shunning and alienating anyone who did something to upset him.
The bill's sponsor says the legislation is simply to target the very few teachers who are bad actors in the system. It passed the committee unanimously and now goes to the full Senate. A bill to outlaw COVID vaccine mandates is making its way through Frankfort. Senate Bill 295 would bar schools, businesses, and hospitals from forcing people to get COVID shots. Supporters say the COVID-19 vaccine has done more harm than good, citing studies that point to the COVID-19 vaccination as a factor behind sudden deaths in young Americans. But the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says research has shown people receiving COVID vaccines are at no greater risk of death from non-COVID causes than unvaccinated people.
It is just unnecessary right now, and the data is starting to show very clearly there's no reason to require this vaccine. And they had to make a decision of their health versus their job, or their school and their future career, or their health. And nobody should be should be forced to make that decision.
Senate Bill 295 has gone through some changes, and Senator Teitner says a more targeted bill might be easier to get through Frankfort during the current legislative session.
And a good Friday morning to you. Let's get you out the door with temperatures that aren't too bad right now. Mid and upper 30s, low and now mid 40s. As Somerset and Monticello have gotten to 45 and 46 respectively. Good morning to you up in Ashland. We know you're watching. 30 up your way. It's also 30 at Clintwood, but 48 at UVA-Y. So the mild air is coming in from the south and southwest. And as you notice out to the east, the high terrain is getting it too. And the pinpoint Doppler radar showing some returns as you make your way toward Columbia and out toward Monticello. And we're going to change radar vantage points because this radar is not in the clear air mode and can kind of give you a better idea of how some of the showers and sprinkles are trying to make their way up toward Pulaski and Whitley counties. So that being said, as we broaden the view out, there will be more moisture that will generate back this way and track up, especially heading through tonight. All right, so for this morning, faded sunshine will track the shower threat west of Jackson, west of Hazard, and then we're all into the rain as we head through the drive home and for dinner plans as well. By the way, today, temperature-wise, you'll like it, near 70. How about temps over the weekend toward Palm Sunday? Your first Alert 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. Madison?
All right, thanks, Tim, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:42. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Hundreds of migrants rush a fence along the southern border in an intense video.